Hey everyone, welcome to another edition of The Bullet. My name is Paul Lathrop. I'm the Deputy Director of New Media for the Second Amendment Foundation. Joining me today, not from his home studio, but from, well, just about as far away from his home studio as you can get and still be in the continental United States, Matt Mallory and Meet the Pressers. Matt, thanks for coming along today, man. Is my audio not getting to you? And I don't I don't think my audio is getting to Matt. Matt, can you hear me? This is not good.
Always fun. Always fun to be here.
Okay. Apparently, audio is on a very, very long
Yep,
delay.
I heard you.
Okay. Not sure why, but our audio is to Matt is going on an extremely long delay. What I'm going to do, Matt, I'm going to go. We talked about this a little bit
I can hear you.
before. We talked about this a little bit before we went on air. I'm going to go ahead and put up comments. I'm just going to let you. Let you comment on these as we go. And why don't you go ahead and take when the delay catches up? Why don't you go ahead and take a crack at this one?
So, some of the most used resources, huh? Any caveats or advice regarding confirmation of data? Geez, there's a lot of them out there. Clint Macro actually has some good ones in PA. He does a lot of the political stuff there for sure. Any of the major organizations like Second Amendment Foundation, I always try to vet that information as well. Canary.com, Jacob Paulson's outfit, they definitely do a good job of collecting data and information and also being able to provide reciprocity maps to individuals out there, as well as the USCCA. USCCA.com/travel is a great resource for people for reciprocity that I've used in the past and refer people to. So just those are a few of the resources. The NRA is still valid, but obviously people are finding other sources because of everything the NRA is going through, unfortunately.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to comment myself. There are several news sources I use every day in my search for topics. The first one I use is, of course, I'm a SAF employee, so this shouldn't surprise anybody. I use keepandbeararms.com. That is a SAF website, and there are links there for daily. They put out links that you if you watch this show, you'll recognize some links from each of the shows I do. You'll see stories in there that show up here too. I also use on a very common basis. I use news searches through DuckDuckGo and also Google News. I find DuckDuckGo is a little less biased in the returns they give me, but Google goes a little deeper. So I'll use both of those, but I try and keep a jaundiced eye when I get the returns. Um, and then just I often have, I keep regular blogs that I keep an eye on, such as my buddy Rob Morris's Slowfax blog or John Richardson's Only Guns and Money blog. I have regular bloggers that I follow every day as well. Those are ones that I get to. Um, Next one I want to next question I'm going to put up for you, Matt. I don't know if our lag has gotten caught up yet, but I want you to talk about this one real quick, if you would. Matt's brought a lot of the 2A community to another level by helping many of them into IMDb. I think that's really awesome. Would you ask Matt to chat about that aspect of Meet the Pressers? And I think he's frozen. Yeah, he froze up. Matt, if you can hear me, I've got the comment up on the screen for you.
Yeah, so this is this is great when it comes to Clint Macro again. I'm referring to my buddy, co-host of the show, Meet the Pressers, right? Clint actually has been in the film industry since like the 90s, and he had his own IMDb account. And him an idea of doing the show, Meet the Pressers, he thought that that'd be a great thing that we could Ellie, but we never realized how it would draw people in being such a new show. It's always a struggle to get people on the show because it's a new show. And in the beginning, it's a new show, and you pitch to them, hey, we'll give you an actor or an actor's credit, actor or an acting credit on IMDb, which, we don't really care about Hollywood, but it's kind of cool if you go onto a show and you get an actor and acting's credit. So that's been a benefit to the show, and a way that we can pull in some big names to be on the show. That they give them their first acting credits. Pretty cool when they've been for a while. So that's something that we definitely love. So anybody out there looking for an acting credit and they want to be on the show, then reach out and we'll weigh that.
Very cool. All right, one more. I'm going to get this one in. Again, from Pete at Gun Websites, the anti-right side uses rifts between communities to create divisions. Is there any deliberate steps that could be taken to get more police to B2A and to promote the pro-2A police out there?
Yeah, that's always tough. I try to push that hard to my fellow law enforcement, and I think a lot of law enforcement, just like prison guards. If you ever talk to a prison guard, a corrections officer, in the beginning when they start out, they're all happy and go lucky, and then when the time to retire, they like, I hate people. People suck, because they're around bad people all day long, in and out, having to basically herd them, corral them. And kind of the same with law enforcement. It's better with law enforcement because they're out on the street patrols and they're dealing with good people and bad people. But they see the bad of the bad, and their mindset is that, geez, maybe nobody should have guns. Some of them. I shouldn't say all of them. Obviously not me. And I try to change that mindset. And I've got a lot that come to classes. They take classes from me, and I really try to push that narrative that, listen, we as law enforcement can't be everywhere. And actually, and if you think about it in depth, we are after the fact. Or after the crap has hit the fan. So wouldn't you want it to be prior to that, where civilians stop the threat and then we show up and just basically make the report? So it's tough. We just got to plead to the law enforcement, talk to, if you got friends and family in law enforcement, try to talk to them, get that conversation going, because the majority of them are pro 2A in the sense of being able to have guns, but there are some out there that are kind of on the fence because of what they see. So talk to them about good, responsible gun ownership and try to offset or tip that teeter-totter back the other way, so that they understand that it's not just what they see in the streets every day that they're dealing with.
All right. Well, is our lag back together? Are you hearing me in real time again?
I think so.
Okay, very cool. I want to go ahead and go off to because it's really hard when there's a 30-second delay between me talking and you talking. So let's go ahead and start with our news then today. First story I got up is actually from this past weekend. 44 people were shot last weekend, 8 fatally from Friday through Monday across Chicago, police said. A 14-year-old boy was critically wounded in a drive-by shooting Sunday night in Hyde Park. At about 8:38 p.m., he was standing outside the 9400 block of South University Avenue when someone in a vehicle driving by fired gunshots. The boy was shot in the groin, police said. He was transported to Corner Children's Hospital, where he's listed in critical condition. No arrests were reported. Area detectives are investigating. And the saddest part to me is I had to dig fairly deep in Chicago news to find that story. It's the Chicago gun problem isn't a gun problem. The Chicago problem is crime, and the fact that the police cannot be everywhere and the gangs will not cooperate with police. A lot of this is gang on gang violence, and nobody really cares. So it doesn't even hit top story news. And I think we're back to a long lag again. We are definitely back to a long lag again. All right. I think we may end up having to wrap the show early because Matt's just not responding. Matt, can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm gonna try to move to the other room.
All right. All right. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to move to the next story. And this one, again, moves to the. This is actually out by where Matt is right now. This one out of Washington State. It was actually a story written by my boss. This was. This showed up in Liberty Park Press. Police report says 8 people were arrested on August 4th in a narcotics operation, and one of the suspects was a 16-year-old who turned out to be the same teen arrested in July at the same location, also for selling fentanyl. In both cases, the Bellotto report noted the teen suspect was carrying a pistol, which is illegal under Washington law. An August 13 email from King County Prosecutor's Office to members of the media perhaps unintentionally explained the problem with the justice system in King County and maybe the entire Puget Sound of Washington State. In both cases, King County Prosecuting Attorney's Office filed felony charges immediately and argued that the teen should be remaining in custody in secure detention, wrote Casey McNerthy, information officer for the prosecutor's office. In both cases, the teen was released from juvenile detention by a judge's order over the objection of prosecutors. Now, I give prosecutors a lot of crap, and in most cases, they deserve it. It seems here that the prosecutors were doing their job. They argued to keep the teen in custody, and some lightweight judge decided, well, let's just kick the kid. He's just getting ready to turn his life around. He's got a chance. And what does the kid do? Goes straight back to carrying guns and selling drugs. Let me see if
Doesn't know any better.
Yeah, Matt, are we on the same page again? Are we close?
I'm hoping we're better.
Okay. I just read off the Washington State story. Do you want to comment on either the Washington State story or the Chicago story, man?
Yeah, Chicago. I can't believe that didn't make the news more than it did. I mean, all these politicians are up everybody's butt in all these companies and individual people like us when somebody does something wrong with a gun in the sense that, you know, a school shooting or whatnot, or a tops in Buffalo, New York. But then when you talk about this inner city, like they don't care about inner city. They don't care about drive-by shootings. They don't care about that many people being shot. I mean, come on. I mean, if anything, they should be on top of that more than anything else, because there's more people in that case. More people were hurt and injured in that situation, and they were illegal guns to multiple people. I mean, it frustrates me so much that they totally ignore that, and that just proved right there that it's political. It's an agenda that they have to disarm citizens, period. There's no other excuse for it. Because if you ask a politician in that same jurisdiction why they're going after innocent people that have guns and trying to ban them, but yet you're not going after these people aggressively or making this a news story, then there's a motive there. It's a political motive.
Absolutely, it's
a
political motive.
Seattle aspect of it.
And the again, back to Chicago, 44 people shot, 8 fatally in one weekend. That's a mass shooting in and of itself. Just because it was multiple incidents,
for sure,
there's more people that are killed there than in a single mass shooting incident where the media would have been going nuts and there would have been 24/7 coverage of it for a week. So yeah, let me get your take then on the Washington story, man.
Judges, man, judges, right? When it comes to politics and judges making decisions, we just seen it recently with the former President Trump, and that judge that signed that warrant for that search. Man, I don't know. These judges are kind of going rogue in some sense. I've had couple months ago, I had breakfast or lunch, I think it was, with one of our county court judges here. And we have the same kind of thing here in New York. And I'm in Seattle area. I'm north of Seattle right now, but Seattle, Washington, that is. But in New York, we have the same kind of thing that Washington has, is catch and release, bail reform, if you will. And it's not good. These judges are having people come to them with 4 or 5 different felony charges, and there's nothing the judges can do. In this case, they just come to them after being caught and released, caught and released, caught and released, and they have to throw the book at them. It's like, too late, dude. So at least, like this judge told me, he said, I'd rather see him in jail waiting for a trial, even though that is due process is being, stipend a little bit, or stifled a little bit, than being out there committing more crimes and going back to like what this kid did, right? Going out and selling fentanyl again. You don't know anything else? Let's get him help. I mean, incarcerating them is one thing, but is there a way that you can rehabilitate them? I mean, let's try that. Let's focus on that. I'm all for that. I want people to have due process. Put the money into the court system so the court system doesn't feel like they just got to kick them back out quick.
Well, and if you want to stop crime, if you want to downtrend crime problems, put them in jail, make them wait for their trial. If they're convicted, make them do their time. If Johnny doesn't want to spend 8 months in jail waiting for trial and then 10 years after trial, like Billy did, if Jimmy knows Billy and then all of a sudden Billy's gone and gone for a really stinking long time, maybe that'll influence Johnny's decisions going forward. If Johnny gets arrested and he's back the next night, Billy doesn't care. You know what I mean?
For sure. And if you give them opportunities to do, and they do in prison, I mean, they'll give them opportunities to try to do better and get a smaller sentence, yada, yada, yada. I mean, continue that. And then that way you can try to let them repent themselves inside the prison to maybe get a smaller sentence or get out quicker or get parole or probation or something to that extent faster than normal.
Absolutely. I want to get, we got another comment in, get a couple more. Pete over at Gun Websites wants to know, any updates on GRPC AmCon? AmCon, Susan just today finished updating the AmCon website, and that's everything is up to date as of right now, including speaker times and all of that. Not all of the speaker bios are updated. We're still waiting on a few bios and headshots from some speakers, but registration is live, and you can go to amcon.org, AMMCON.org, to get all of that. Susan's been working very hard today on that. GRPC, I've been almost daily going through calls and plans for broadcasting both AmCon and GRPC. Susan and I were planning on taking bikes down to Dallas in September and riding back up to Sioux Falls in October. But with the amount of broadcast equipment I'm going to have to take, I've decided it's going to be easier just to take the car rather than buy 2 bikes and a trailer. It's going to be just easier to take the car and safer, honestly, for the equipment. So I'm really looking forward to that. Charles Heller, the guy that helps me broadcast, I had him on the show on Saturday, and I'm looking forward to working with him again the end of September. So that's what that is. DJ Play Nice on the YouTube side, Matt talking about what you were just, prison is not rehabilitation. Prison, honestly, is what I've heard explained. Prison is an advanced education in crime, and quite often. And get this one up here. And DJ also follows up with more like archiving people with the expectation of change. And how's that working out?
Sure.
And I think we're back to the very long audio delays again. All right. I think what I'm going to do, because we are running extremely long delays, this just isn't working. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to cut this one short, folks. I'm sorry for the short show, but it's just not working with the extended delays waiting for Matt to hear what I'm saying. So please do come join me 5 p.m. Central Time tomorrow when Tom Walls of the Firearms Academy of Seattle is going to be here. We're going to be talking about both husband and wife are at a place. What about teamwork when something happens? What does the one that's armed do? What does the one that's unarmed do? And if you're both armed, what do you do? We're talking about teamwork when it comes to self-defense. That's tomorrow on the Bullet. Saturday on the weekend edition of the Bullet. I don't have everything booked yet, but Tony Simon of The Second is for Everyone is going to be joining me for the weekend Bullet. That's going to do it for me today. We're going to go ahead and shut the show down here. Come join us tomorrow, 5 p.m. Central Time. Thanks for watching, everybody.